He loved Ken Griffey Jr. growing up, his favorite player. He slices that one into left field and a base hit. His first major league hit. And a line drive into left field, and his family more than a little excited. What a moment for them to be here to see that happen.
Get him the ball. Here it comes in.
It's so nice when you meet these kids that, you know, they go, that's it. There you go.
Line shot, base hit to left. He's on again.
There you go.
His 6th major league hit. He's 6 for 14.
This kid's a little something for the Pirates. Look at the Pirates. Look how happy they are.
But I like that.
High fly, deep center field, turning around Ellsbury, and that is off the wall. The run is in to score. Benintendi puts on the brakes at second. The SEC with 20 homers. Knocked down by Teixeira. It rolls to Castro and will not be able to get him at first base, and Benintendi is on again.
Well, he is very quickly tonight becoming a crowd favorite.
3-2 runner going. High fly ball deep down the right field line. That looks like number 1 deep into the corner. Gone! The first major league home run for Andrew Benintendi. He hits it in Detroit at Comerica Park.
Off of the crack of the bat with 2 outs. Kimbrel deals. Bregman in the air, left field. Benintendi dives, and he makes the catch! Oh, what a play! Game saver, Andrew Benintendi. The Red Sox win on a spectacular catch by Benintendi in left field. Wow, what a game. What a finish. The guts it takes to make that play. If it gets by him, it's over. Game's over.
For 6 outs at some point. That is hit hard in the air to left, back at the wall. A leaping grab by Benintendi. And another loud out this postseason that this Red Sox outfield is able to haul in. What a catch.
Yeah, not the easiest position to play when you got that big green wall right there. We asked him about it today. Have you gotten used to it? Are you used to all the bounces and everything that wall provides or presents? And he said, no, not exactly. He said, because there's a ladder, there's the numbers, it takes crazy bounces.
Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Welcome everybody, welcome to another edition of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I am your host James Murphy, aka Murph, and welcome to Friday's edition, episode number 15. It's definitely feels good to be in this position with this podcast, seeing the success it is getting in the local community, which is much appreciated by myself and everyone over here at Murph's Boston Sports Talk. So thank you so much for downloading. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much for your contribution, your time, and your energy. As I was about to hit record on this episode, again, major NFL news breaks. But first, I cannot ignore the fact of what happened with the Red Sox over the past 36 or so hours. And that is the Andrew Benintendi trade between the Royals and the Mets. So the Red Sox, Kansas City Royals, and the New York Mets completed a 3-team trade, and I'll briefly just run over what the trade is right now, where the Royals will acquire outfielder Andrew Benintendi and cash from the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox will get outfielder Franchy Cordero and 2 players to be named later from the Royals, right-hander Josh Winchowski, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Josh Winchowski, and a player to be named later from the Mets, where the Mets will get outfielder Khalil Lee from Kansas City. So, Red Sox get 5 players in return, 1 being a major league ready outfielder, 1 being a soon-to-be ready, pitcher with a lot of strong promise, and then we get 3 players to be named later, which, if anyone doesn't know what a player to be named later is, that is where 2 teams decide on a list of 6 to 12 players, I believe, 6 or 12 players that they both agree upon. So let's say player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way down to 12. And the team receiving this player to be named later will have up to 6 months to determine which player they would like to acquire in that deal. So Right now, the Red Sox only have 2 players in return for the Benintendi trade. However, they will be getting 3 additional players once the player to be named later is determined, hopefully come mid-season. 6 months from now would bring us to August, but I'm sure that'll be determined by Chaim Bloom and the Red Sox front office sooner than later. This one hurts. This one really, really hurts. And me personally, I was a big fan of Andrew Benintendi when the Red Sox drafted him in 2015 with the 7th overall pick in the draft, where they sucked the year before. They took him. I loved the pick. He was a center fielder at the time. Really good swing. He could really field. I think his fielding is so underrated, but that's probably his best part about his game, is that he's a tremendous fielder. He has a cannon of an arm. And he's clearly versatile, being a center fielder, and then obviously he was playing left field for us because we had Bradley Jr., who was just a better center field defender. But yeah, overall, this one really hurts. This really hurts. Benintendi finished second in the American League, Rookie of the Year voting in 2017, falling behind Aaron Judge, who well deserved it, by the way. In his rookie year, he hit .271 with 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases in 151 games. So his first full year was very, very good, very, very promising. Hopefully you were able to watch and listen to that clip that I had in the beginning about Andrew Benintendi, just kind of briefly highlighting a few career moments he had with the Red Sox up until this point. Unfortunately, last year in the COVID-19 shortened season, he only appeared in 14 games due to a rib injury, where the Red Sox just shut him down like not even halfway through the season because he just couldn't do it anymore. Might as well just save him for next year. But obviously he's not going to be with us next year. So, yeah. Moving over to Frankie Cordero, probably one of the bigger names that the Red Sox acquired with Winchowski. He's 26 years old. He made his MLB debut with the Padres in 2017, and he was a top-class power prospect. However, injuries kind of plagued him, and he's kind of really taken a huge step back. The Royals acquired him in a trade with the Padres in July of 2020, but he's only played in 16 games before he had surgery on a broken right hamate bone. Okay. Either way, I'm looking forward to this because I'm looking forward to this trade. As much as I am on the fence about trading Benintendi, and I've said this before, that you can't trade both Betts and Benintendi. You can only do one or the other, and the Red Sox chose to trade Betts, so you have to keep Benintendi. However, I'm not completely against this trade. I feel like this trade, your return for Benintendi was so much more than it was for Betts, even though Betts is a far better player, and I've mentioned before that the whole contractual situation is a huge deterrent about that, where Betts only had 1 year left of arbitration, so whichever team, I guess in his case the Dodgers, trading for him would only get 1 year left with him until he re-signed that contract, but that's not a guarantee. However, in Benintendi's case, he has 2 years left, so there's more team control in that aspect. I don't care about the Mets. The Mets got prospect Khalil Lee, who's 22 years old, supposed to be a stud pitcher, but who knows? I mean, I could really care less, to be honest. He's pitching very well. But Winchowski, the Mets recently acquired in a trade that sent Steven Matz to the Blue Jays. So this guy was in the Blue Jays system, over to the Mets, and now to the Red Sox. He had a strong 2019 campaign at Class A and Class A Advanced Ball. 2.69 ERA in 24 combined appearances with 23 starts. So he is a starting pitcher. He's a right-handed pitcher, and he has a career ERA of 3.35 over 4 minor league seasons. He was the 26th ranked Mets prospect following the trade with the Blue Jays. I think the pitching prospect could have been better, but overall, A, it's a pitcher. B, he had a really good. Ooh, that was my knuckle that just cracked. He had a really good year last year, throwing a 2.69 ERA, so it's earned run average. So every time he goes in, he's going to give up 2.69 runs for a starting pitcher. That is a very good number. He has a career ERA in the minor leagues of 3.35. That alone is not good, but it's not terrible, but you'll definitely take it. Like I said, starting pitcher, exactly what the Red Sox need moving forward. Are we going to see this guy this year? Probably not. We could definitely see him at some point next year, and that's what I am looking forward to the most. And then for the 3 players to be named later, 2 from the Royals, 1 from the Mets, there's not much to talk about in that situation because I don't know the list of the players that the Red Sox could potentially acquire, nor I don't think it's announced yet from anybody involving this news. But either way, there's the Andrew Benintendi trade. So just to recap it, Royals will get outfielder Andrew Benintendi and cash from the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox will acquire outfielder Franchy Cordero and 2 players to be named later from Kansas City, right-handed pitcher Josh Winchowski, and a player to be named later from the New York Mets, where the Mets will get outfielder Khalil Lee from Kansas City. Overall, I think it's a good trade. There was an article that kind of graded these trades, and let's see, what is it? SportingNews.com, they graded the Royals a B+. They graded the Mets a B, and then the Red Sox got an incomplete grade due to the players to be named later. All that being said, though, those are my thoughts about the trade. I don't really like the fact that we traded Benintendi, but I do like the return that we got on him, where we're getting 5 players this time, and for Betts we only got 3. However, with this 5 players, that helps fill the minor league pool of players because your minor league has been very much slacking for the past few years after making big trades and acquiring Kimbrel, Sale, and whatnot. So your top tier prospect list is very, very thin. However, with this 5-player trade, or I guess 5 players in return trade, you're going to be able to kind of fill that prospect in those minor league pools a little bit better. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Cordero this year because you'll have plenty of opportunity to play because we have no outfield. We have Hunter Renfroe, Franchy Cordero, JD Martinez, who's usually the DH, and Alex Verdugo. So he's definitely going to be the starting outfielder, whether it's left field, center field, or wherever. And I'm definitely looking forward to see if maybe a change of scenery can kind of, change him back to the top tier prospect that he once was, that power hitting prospect he once was. And there'll be certainly a win-win for the Red Sox if that is the case. However, those are my thoughts. I've been rambling about it. I want to hear your thoughts. Reach out to me on Twitter and Instagram at Murphs_BostonST, where the ST stands for Sports Talk. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment down below your thoughts about the trade. Regardless of the platform you're listening, or regardless of the platform you're going to reach out to me, let me know what you thought. Was it a good trade, a bad trade, a good all-around trade for everybody, a bad trade for the Red Sox or the Royals or whatever? I definitely want to hear your thoughts and opinions about that. Oh, and on a side note, if you're watching this on YouTube, give me a thumbs up if you like that little Benintendi intro, montage, homage thing as he is now on his way. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, you will hear it, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy it as well. And maybe it'll make you want to go watch it on YouTube because it is pretty good. I did put a lot of effort into it, and it was fun to make. So hopefully not a lot of big name players from the Boston teams are being traded, but definitely down the road, if they are, I will be making these more and more. If the Red Sox or any Boston team acquires a big name, I will happily do it for a player that we trade for. Whew. Okay, moving forward. I do have more baseball stuff that I want to discuss here. Let's see. I guess we should talk about. Let's see. Is this it? Okay, here's it. So MLB last night, ESPN I should say, released a top 100 prospect list for obviously the 2021 season, and there's only there's tons of players on here. If some players are known, some players aren't too known by people, but let's see. I'll give you the top 5 just to Wander Franco, shortstop from the Rays. He's 19. He's going to be an absolute stud. Adley Rutschman, catcher for the Orioles. He's 23. He's going to be up this year, and he's going to make some serious noise. He was the first overall pick a couple years ago. Jared Kelenic, right fielder for the Mariners. Stud. I think this dude's going to be the next guy. He is a good lefty hitter, lefty thrower. Honestly, a 5-tool player in the making, I would honestly say. Spencer Torkelson, the first baseman from the Tigers, age 21, and then CJ Abrams, center fielder for the Padres. So even after all those trades that the Padres made, they still have a top 5 prospect. Other than that, there's probably not a lot of names that people would know on here, except at number 10, Randy Orozenia from the Tampa Bay Rays. He was the player for the Rays that hit like 9 or 10 postseason home runs, tying like the record. And yes, he was doing it as a rookie. He wasn't a full-fledged rookie, as he was up for just a quote-unquote cup of coffee that year. However, this is his first full rookie season, and it's definitely interesting to see where he goes this year and if he becomes that player that everyone thinks he's going to be, that player that all the sport card investors think he's going to be, myself included. But all that being said, I do want to jump to what the Red Sox have on this list, and they only have 2 players on this list. So out of 100 baseball players, out of 100 top prospects, they have 2 of them. Now, in years past, they've had 1, they've had 0, they've had like 5 in years past. So to see 2 in a shattered prospect pool or minor league prospect or whatever, it's good to see that they have 2 players. What I'm trying to say is, after the Kimbrel and Sale trade, their minor league system was depleted. Not a lot of good prospects have been coming up lately, with the exception of Benintendi, Betts, and you can say Chavis even, but Chavis wasn't really a top tier prospect per se. He was up there, but he wasn't anywhere, in terms of top of the top, So anyways, at number 41, we have the Red Sox first prospects, and that is Jeter Downs. He's a second baseman, shortstop by trade, but second baseman is kind of what he's turning into because, we have Xander Bogaerts. He's locked in for the next 6 more seasons, 5 more seasons, whatever it is, and the Red Sox got Jeter Downs from the Los Angeles Dodgers in the Mookie Betts trade, along with Alex Verdugo. So to kind of see that Jeter Downs is starting to kind of turn into that prospect that we acquired him to be, and to start seeing him get better and better, it's starting to turn out nicely. I'm starting to get a little different change of feelings, change of heart with the Mookie Betts trade. And obviously with the Red Sox just trading Andrew Benintendi, this is definitely good to see that we potentially made the right move or acquiring the right players. Verdugo last year for the Red Sox was an absolute stud. He was awesome. But Jeter Downs and Connor Wong, the catcher, kind of some question marks. But to see Jeter Downs actually kind of become the prospect and become the player that the Red Sox want him to be in the future is definitely very nice. He is 22 years old. Hopefully we see him at some point this year, but there is no rush on him. He is the 41st best prospect all through MLB, entering the 2021 MLB season according to ESPN. Moving to number 52, this is going to be a good one. Tristan Casas. He is a 21-year-old first baseman, bats left, throws right. He's going to be a stud. I'm telling you, he is going to be an absolute stud. Him, Bobby Dahlbeck, Rafael Devers. There's going to be a little bit of confusion on the corner of the infield because you have Devers now. You probably will have Bobby Dahlbeck playing first base. So when Tristan Casas' number is called up, what are you going to do? I mean, you can move Devers to DH because his third base fielding skills are kind of poor. But, I mean, you don't want to do that to a young kid because Devers is still young himself. He's like 24 years old. He's in the prime of his career. But to see Tristan Casas on here, who has a lot of raw power, is so good to see because, like I said, our prospect pool has been so thin for a very long time. And to see not 1 but 2 players on here is very nice. In addition, Bobby Dahlbeck, who got the call-up last year, who'll be on the team this year. Full time. It's also good to see him playing as well, and to kind of have a corner of the infield problem where you have too many mouths to feed, too many innings to give, is a good thing. However, if it's not handled appropriately, it could be a bad thing as well. So to see Tristan Casas and Jeter Downs in the top 100, Downs 41, Tristan Casas 52 respectively, is definitely promising. In addition to the Andrew Benintendi trade as well. So I think, all things considered, as much as this hurts, as much as the Betts trade hurt last year, I think the future for the Red Sox are starting to turn to the bright side in terms of future players, future prospects, and whatnot. However, now that we have them, we can't go out and trade them. I think you should just keep them because I think this is going to be a rebuilding year again for the Red Sox. I just don't see them competing with the Blue Jays, Yankees, the Rays even, and the Orioles look like they're getting better as well because they are a young team. So that AL East is really going to be tough for them. I think that this year they should just kind of take a step back, rebuild, focus on the young guys. And, hey, if they happen to be in a spot to compete, go for it. But just don't be stupid about it. That is everything I have to say about that. Oh, one more thing. Red Sox agree to terms with utility man Marwin Gonzalez on a 1-year, $3 million deal. He's an infielder by trade, but he's played a lot of outfield, and he's a versatile player. He's very similar to Brock Holt. Marwin Gonzalez was on the 2017 Astros World Series team when they won, quote-unquote, won the World Series. He spent the past 2 years with the Minnesota Twins, having a very down time with them. Hit .211 with 5 home runs last year in the pandemic-shortened season. However, in 2017, when the Astros won the World Series, he did hit .303 with 23 home runs and 90 RBIs. So the hitting is there. Oh, and plus he's a switch hitter. Excuse my stomach. He's a switch hitter. He's a potential power hitter, and he is a man that can play almost every position. All in all, I want to look back at a statement that I made about the Red Sox with their subtle moves that they made a couple weeks ago now, and that these are all good supplemental moves. However, I think the Red Sox, with this trade with Andrew Benintendi, I think is a major move. Obviously, he's a major name. And to see the Red Sox get buy prospects back, to see the Red Sox have 2 of their prospects be in the elite class of the top 100 prospects, and then to also go out and sign Marwin Gonzalez and make the other moves that you've made as well. It's a very confusing sign. Are they rebuilding? Are they trying to compete? What's their plan for 2021? I think they're kind of going to be in the middle of the road in terms of competing and tanking. I don't think they're going to tank, but playing poor, 75 and 87, I think. Does that sound right? Yeah, 75 and 75 and 87. I think they could finish between 75 wins and 85 wins, anywhere in that 10-win ballpark. But, they're making a ton of moves, which is very good to see, and they're not just sitting on their hands. They're trying to make moves to either better themselves for this year or better themselves for years to come. And as a Red Sox fan, looking on the outside in on a team that did very poorly last year and took a huge step back in 2019, it's good to see that these moves are being made, whether it's for the current or the future. But there's still a lot more that needs to be done with the Red Sox. Obviously, there still is a lot more that needs to be done with the current Major League roster, especially the pitching, and currently with the farm system. So all in all, great moves. I'm very happy with the return as of now. Obviously, we need to see how the prospects and the players to be named later turn out. But on its surface, I am happy with the Andrew Benintendi trade. As much as it hurts to see him walk out the door, I did love him a lot. However, I like this trade a lot more than the Mookie Betts trade in terms of return. However, we can't look back anymore. We can only look to the future, and I think the Red Sox future is looking very bright. What do you guys think? Let me know with a DM on Instagram or on Twitter at Murphs_BostonST. If you're watching on YouTube, reach out to me in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. If you haven't already and you are enjoying this video and this content, give it a thumbs up. That's just the best way to show me how that you're supporting and that you are enjoying this content. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. That also means a lot to me. And if you're watching on Apple, maybe leave a 5-star rating. That would be nice. That would be nice too. But yes, so I do want to address the NFL league, major NFL news that just broke literally as I was about to press record. And I wanted to get all this Red Sox and stuff out of the way first, obviously, because I think being a Boston sports channel, sports podcast, I think that kind of takes precedent, especially when a massive trade like this happens. And that is the Houston Texans and defensive end superstar J.J. Watt have agreed to mutually part ways. What does that mean? That means that both the Houston Texans and J.J. Watt have agreed to go their separate ways, where the Texans will be releasing J.J. Watt. He was due to earn $17.5 million in 2021. However, there is no guaranteed money left on his contract that he signed a few years ago. So with him being released, that is $17.5 million back in the Texans' pocket. J.J. Watt is now a free agent, as he is over 30 years old. I believe he's only 31 years old, but he's going to be looking to win or be on a competitive team, because being on the 4-12 Houston Texans is tough, especially when your starting quarterback doesn't even really want to be there. So I'm going to say it's a good move for the Texans, because $17.5 million for one player is going to be kind of a stretch for a superstar player where you're in a rebuilding mode, whether you have Deshaun Watson or not. I think this move really helps them long term, because, like I said, J.J. Watt is 31 years old, and to kind of be able to use that money and reinvest it in younger talent, I think is going to benefit them in the long haul. Obviously, that's coming from a non-Houston Texans fan, so a Houston Texan fan might think otherwise. But J.J. Watt did announce this news on a Twitter video. He said, "Houston, I want you to hear this directly from me, and I'm going to play that video for you right now."
I want to do this on video as opposed to putting out a statement or doing a press conference or anything like that, because I want you guys to hear it directly from me. I want to speak directly to you in the city of Houston, so you can hear the words straight from my mouth. I have sat down with the McNair family, and I have asked them for my release, and we have mutually agreed to part ways at this time. I came here 10 years ago as a kid from Wisconsin who'd never really been to Texas before. And now I can't imagine my life without Texas in it. The way that you guys have treated me, besides draft night, I mean, you guys booed me on draft night. But every day after that, you treated me like family. And I truly feel like you're my family. Since that day, I have tried to do everything in my power to work and earn your respect and try and make you proud on and off the field. You guys have given me everything and more, and I can only hope that you feel like I've given you everything I have. The city of Houston's been unbelievable to me. It's where I met my wife. It's where I've met lifelong friends and my teammates. I've had incredible coaches and training staff and equipment staff and cafeteria workers and the weight room staff and the front office people and people on the streets, people in restaurants and grocery stores and showing up in my house. The connection is special, and I will never ever take that for granted, because I know how rare it is. I'm excited and looking forward to a new opportunity, and I've been working extremely hard, but at the same time it is always tough to move on, and I just want you guys to know that I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the McNair family for giving me, drafting me and giving me my first opportunity in the NFL. Thank you, Houston. I love you.
So that is former Houston Texan now, J.J. Watt, on announcing him and the Texans have decided to part ways. Obviously a very sentimental and emotional video. You could hear from the sound of his voice that this hurts him. This really, really impacts him. And it's devastating, because you've known Houston for 10 years of your life. That's all you've known is just one system. Obviously, coaching and coordinators, come and go and change. But, being in one city, one team for 10 years and then kind of, getting out of there, it hurts. It stings. And obviously, for Texans fans, that's going to suck and it sting. And with us, the Red Sox, the Benintendi and the Betts trade, obviously wasn't as long-term, but that hurts. And then Tom Brady last year, when he announced that, he's not going to be coming back, he was a player for us for 20 years, and that was devastating, and that really hurt, got me upset and emotional. But at the end of the day, you just have to understand it. But they're doing it because, for whatever reason, to better their career, because, they didn't want to be back or whatever. And if you love a player so much, you're not going to hate them for wanting to move forward with their life, try better things, or go to a better opportunity. And I think that's what J.J. Watt is doing. And he's not in it for the money at this point. He's made tons of money being one time, or even still arguably, the best defensive end in all of football. Obviously, Aaron Donald's probably taken that mantle, but J.J. Watt's right there, right? He's no joke to be messed with, and whatever team he goes to will be blessed to have that kind of player. It's going to be a team in contention, obviously a playoff team. It's just we have no idea. I think the Green Bay Packers makes the most sense because he is from Wisconsin, and if you've seen this video, he's wearing a Wisconsin sweatshirt. He looks like he's in a log cabin. I don't know if this is his house, a vacation home, but he looks like he's in a log cabin, up in Wisconsin, right? So, I think that's just too good of a fit for the Packers. I mean, getting a defensive pressure like him, along with that really, really good defense already, it seems too good to fit. I mean, I could try to spin this towards the Patriots where they need, passing rush, pass pressure on the quarterback, the opposing quarterback, and J.J. Watt would be a perfect fit with the Patriots. If we can kind of formulate and meticulate our defense to, improve. Obviously, we have a lot of players coming back that were out for COVID, but, they're still a little rusty, so there's going to be time there. And obviously, if the offense improves, I think with all these moves being made, the Patriots can be in competition again in the AL East. Oh my goodness, in the AFC East. I got my sports all mixed up. I apologize. In the AFC East, hopefully for a wild card or the division spot, and then anything after that is up in the air, obviously, because the Chiefs are still there, the Browns are going to be there, the Titans and Steelers are questionable, but I think they'll be a good team nonetheless. If I was to put it down right now, I say he goes to Packers. I know on last episode I made the prediction, a far-fetched, way too early prediction that the Packers will win Super Bowl 56. If they can get J.J. Watt and another weapon for Aaron Rodgers, given Aaron Rodgers being on the team next year, I think that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are a shoo-in to be in the Super Bowl. Obviously, with the Bucs still in the NFC, that's such a hard bet to make, but that's still a bet that is still comfortable to make. All that being said, huge NFL news, and literally this broke as I pressed record, as I was about to press record, actually, and here it is. That's big stuff. That's the first shoe to drop in the NFL as players are going to be moving around now that the Super Bowl is over. Free agency is going to be starting up around the corner. The new calendar league year will be starting up relatively soon. Trades are going to be made. Players are going to be released. Players are going to be signing. And next thing you know, we'll have draft night very, very shortly. All right. Wow, we're already 30 minutes in. And wow, okay. So let's run the wheel. I love using this wheel. The wheel got a huge amount of positive feedback, which is absolutely awesome. I appreciate all that. A lot of work went into this wheel, and I really think this wheel is kind of help being successful and will help be much more interactive. All right, so let's give this bad puppy a spin, huh? I'm going to hit it a gazillion times just to get something really, really fresh. And if it's NFL news or Red Sox news, I'm going to be upset about it because we just talked about that. All right, here we go. Fantasy sleepers. Okay. Now, this is definitely one that's going to be interesting for sure. Way too early to get into a lot of fantasy stuff. I mean, fantasy football is one of the biggest forms of sports competition out there. Probably besides actually playing the game, right? And fantasy is so fun and so riveting literally throughout the entire course of football. And if you're not into fantasy, I would strongly suggest getting into fantasy because it's just a great way for you to know players or know the best players in the league. B, it gives you a great drive of competition. And C, it's just fun. I mean, it's just super fun. And, if you've been doing it for a long time, you're doing it for a reason. If you just got into it, best of luck. I will have to admit that I did win both of my fantasy leagues this past year. Woo! Yes. Calvin Ridley was probably my best player, hands down, and I can't thank him enough for that. In my big money league, thank you, Aaron Rodgers. Thank you, Miles Sanders. Thank you to those three because at least I was able to remember those three. Anyways, fantasy sleepers for next year. That's tough. Ooh, I just hit the mic. I think both. I mean, we just saw Justin Jefferson go off this year. A lot of leagues took him undrafted, either that or a late round flyer for a lot of people, and he tore it up to be a top 5, 6, 7, 8 wide receiver in the league in terms of fantasy or just in terms of the NFL statistics. He's a top wide receiver this year, and to see him take off the way he did in a fantasy approach that he came out of in most drafts leads me to believe that one of 3 players, if not maybe 2 players, whether it's Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, or Jalen Waddle, will kind of have a similar path of success that Justin Fields has. Obviously, it depends on what team takes them, and a lot of early teams are projected to take all three of those players, so it could be more difficult, whereas the Vikings were in the middle of the first round last year taking Justin Jefferson, where they had Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen already. So it wasn't too bad of a situation for him to be in, being a rookie wide receiver. However, if Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase goes to the Jets, it could be a lot more difficult. If one of them goes to the Dolphins at number 3, if they keep that pick, say Devontae Smith goes to the Dolphins at number 3, him and Tua have that Alabama connection, and they could really, make some noise together as quarterback and both wide receiver. Jalen Waddle, he's coming off that fractured ankle. He should be okay. He's probably the one that's going to be taken last, so he could be taken the end of the top 10, early, 10, 11, 12 range. And at that point, you can see the 49ers or maybe the Giants. Cowboys won't need a wide receiver. Lions maybe, but, they kind of need a quarterback unless they're going to roll with Goff. So it's going to be really interesting to see those 3 wide receivers and how they play out. But a huge fantasy sleeper is going to be one of those 3. And if I was to put my money on it, I'd probably say Devontae Smith, just because he's been, playing a lot. He just came off of the Heisman winning year. I cannot ignore the fact that Jamar Chase is a top tier, top elite wide receiver talent in the draft, and wherever team he goes to, we'll be blessed to have him. And I'm sure that both Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase will have exceptional years, and then with Jalen Waddle falling behind. But definitely one of those 3 guys will be a fantasy sleeper come the 2021 NFL season. And just to give you another sleeper, I think this is tough. This is really tough because I don't want to say a quarterback because some of the quarterbacks might not even play. Like a Trevor Lawrence, he's obviously going to play this year. You could see him have similar success that Joe Burrow had, where first overall pick, instant starter, loves to throw the ball. Lawrence is more of a runner than Burrow, so you'll get that aspect out of Trevor Lawrence. Being with the Jaguars, you got James Robinson, a good all-down running back. I think Trevor Lawrence, can you really consider the first overall pick in the draft a sleeper? I don't know. A lot of people weren't taking Joe Burrow until after the 10th round anyways, and that's like sleeper territory. So I could totally see Trevor Lawrence being a lot of sleepers. Plus, he's on the Jaguars, so a lot of people might not want to take him because of the quote-unquote weapons, even though they have Bishka, they got Keelan Cole, and they have, what's the third guy? I can't think of the third guy. Oh, and DJ Chark, right. So all in all, I think that they have a really good chance to make something happen on offense. It's going to come down to the Jags defense. I really don't think that AFC South is as strong as people think. Yes, you have the Titans. Yes, you have the Colts. But the Texans are going to be taking a massive step back. Can the Colts retain their success that they had this year? Potentially, depending on who their quarterback is. Can the Titans keep up their success from this year? Potentially, depending on the moves that they make. So I think the Jaguars could be a sneaky team. Not going to say that they're going to be anywhere successful, but I think they could be relatively competitive in the AFC South and maybe make a little noise in the AFC wildcard picture, probably up until the last couple weeks of the season. Now, let's do one more. So those are my three fantasy sleepers: Chase, Smith, Lawrence. Top tier, obviously draft talent, but they're rookies, so they may get overlooked. First year in the league could be tough for them, but nonetheless, you see the success that Burrow and Justin Jefferson had this year for fantasy and where they were selected in the draft. So it leads me to believe that we could see something similar with both Trevor Lawrence and Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith. Let's get back to the wheel here. We'll do one more. Let's obnoxiously spin the wheel. And all that clicking is me trying to spin the wheel as fast as I can. Ooh, March Madness. Okay, so I'm just going to go on a quick little tangent right here with March Madness. And to be truthfully honest, I haven't really paid much attention to college basketball. given the fact that football season was, going, and now basketball, I guess Celtics and the Bruins are full-fledged. Plus, my team, Kentucky Wildcats, they suck. They really do suck. And that's hard for me to kind of get engaged into something where we don't have a good local team being competitive, because UMass Boston, UMass Amherst, BU, they're just not good basketball programs. And why Kentucky? I honestly couldn't tell you. I know when Anthony Davis was there, that's kind of when I started to watch basketball. They were the best team at the time, and I just loved the way that they played. Kind of got hooked on that way all those years ago. However, we look ahead. Kentucky, nowhere near the top 25 or nowhere near the type of play that they used to have. However, this is not a Kentucky podcast, so I'm just going to shut up about Kentucky. But overall, March Madness, hopefully we have it this year. We weren't able to have it last year. And to not have it last year, kind of sucked. It really did, because March Madness is one of those things that everybody, whether you know college hoops or not, you look forward to, because you're able to, fill out a bracket, hope that it's perfect and win a lot of money, or you get into like some kind of league and whoever gets the most right will get money based off of how many teams that they're able to select right in their respective bracket. Me personally, it's hard to ignore Baylor. They're currently ranked number 2 all throughout NCAA basketball. Baylor being 17-0, I mean, they were good last year, but to see them be 17-0 carrying over into this year is very special to see, especially because they're usually they're not a top tier basketball team. They're not like a Ohio State. They're not like a Kentucky, a Duke, a North Carolina. You see Gonzaga 18-0. They're always up there in the rankings, but they're in the WCC, the West Coast Conference, and there's not a lot of big names over there. So can you argue that they have a easy schedule? Sure, but every year come March Madness, they're always in like the top, the Elite 8 or whatever. So you can't really hold that against them. They're in no SEC or Big Ten or whatever, but nonetheless, they're still always a team that's up there, and it's nothing new to see them up there again this year. It is kind of sad to see none of the big names like Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina are even close to the top 25. They're all very, very trash this year. If I do have a surprise, Texas has kind of fallen off. They're 13th now. They were in the top 10 before. Alabama, now I'm a big Alabama football fan, but to see them, they were 10 last week. They're 11 this week. To see them kind of drop back a spot, I mean, I'm not too worried about it. 15-5, I think they're going to be okay. They still got to, win the games that they should be winning, and they can't be losing by 3 to Missouri, although Missouri is a good team in themselves. But all in all, I really do like the fresh blood, you could say, that's in the top 25 for college basketball. I wish Providence was in here, obviously being a local kid and a local team where they're actually pretty good. But let's see, where is Providence? It's loading. They're 10-10 right now. Oh, so they're not even going to scratch it unless they can win the division. Either way, that's my take on March Madness. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and a lot has to unfold before we can really dive deep into any college basketball discussion. But with that being said, that's kind of where we're looking at right now in terms of college basketball, college hoops. It's definitely going to be really, really intriguing to see if we're able to have college March Madness again this year, unlike we were able to not have it last year. I think all signs are pointing well. All signs are pointing good for go. But definitely give me your thoughts. Who is your favorite college basketball team, whether it's right now or in general? I know a lot of people in the area do like Providence College, PC. They were in the tournament. They've been in the tournament in now for a few years. They reached the Final Four. I forget what year it was. It was before I moved down here. But to see new faces such as Illinois, Houston's been in and out for a little bit, but to see them 16-2 is very good. West Virginia, for some reason, I like West Virginia come March Madness, and they're just a sneaky team that can win a couple games or give like good teams a heart attack. They're in there at 14. Creighton, I remember Creighton with what was his name? The shooter. His dad was the coach. McBucket, something like that. Oh, whatever his name is. He was electric, and then he got drafted like the next year, and now he sucks. Wisconsin's back in. I mean, they fell off for a few years. They were really good when they had Frank Kaminsky as their big man, but they sucked after he left. But now he's in. Now they're in at 21. So there's a lot that's going to happen between now and obviously March Madness, with it almost a month away or so. But nonetheless, it's something to look forward to, whether you're a college hoops fan or not, because like I said, you just fill out a bracket, maybe pay $10 and just kind of hope for the best, right? Well, that's definitely going to be me. I'm going to fill out a bracket, see what I can come up with, and hope for the best. Well, anyways, I appreciate everybody for downloading and everybody for listening to this episode of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I greatly appreciate your time, your energy, and your love and support. It goes so far on the podcast and on the channel. It is well appreciated, well acknowledged, and I absolutely adore everyone for listening and downloading, reaching out to me, giving me your thoughts, giving me your takes and opinions, and telling me straight up that my takes either suck or that my take was really good. And if you want to join in on that, reach out to me on Twitter and Instagram at Murphs_BostonST, where the ST stands for Sports Talk. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking. If you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up if you're still watching on YouTube. That's the best way to show support for the channel. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode 15 of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. And hopefully everybody out there can have a safe weekend, and hopefully you can enjoy your weekend. It's going to be freezing cold. Hopefully there's no snow. I know last time I checked there was supposed to be snow. On Sunday there is, so prepare for that. We've been hammered with snow for a little bit now. I'm kind of sick of it. I just want spring weather to be here. Don't forget to download, please. I love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!